Yes, guys, how you doing? Welcome back to the Spurs Talk Show. I am Sean Butler. Bugsy Malone's downstairs. Well, she's just down beneath me here. She's waiting to go out, so I'm going to keep this one as brief as possible. It's Wednesday morning. I hope you're all happy and healthy, doing the things you love with those you love to do them with. Please do me a favour, guys, before we get into today's Tottenham news, views and clues. And it's a bit of an eye-opener, a bit of a financial eye-opener. Maybe my suspicions regarding this new ambition thing is on point. Maybe not. Still subject to change, but we're going to talk about it. Before we do, smash the like button if you enjoy the content. Hit the subscribe if you haven't already on the march towards 40k. Hit the notification bell and drop a comment or two. Let me know your thoughts. Appreciate all the support as we've gone through the quietest period of the season, the post-transfer window international break. It's been more exciting than usual, but still a little bit dry. Anyway, guys, also this video is sponsored by okjersey.com. Get yourself to okjersey.com. QR code just down there where you can get the best shirts, the best replica jerseys, highest quality, £15 give or take with all your names and numbers. And also you get an 8% discount at the checkout with code Sean, S-E-A-N. This video is also going to be on all of the different Spotify's and podcasts, Apple Pods, all those sorts of things. Check out the links in the description. Appreciate any 5-star reviews you can offer. Guys, let's get into it. Look, the main story of today, first and foremost, let's get the easy stuff out of the way. Congratulations to Jed Spence. Made his debut, got some minutes at the end of the game last night in England's whitewash of Serbia. Pretty fierce kind of fan engagement, so we call it that. I don't know. Pretty toxic environment, but they managed to get through. Congratulations to him. Congratulations to England. It was quite a nice thing to see Harry Kane get a little bit choked up when he was handing over the first cap to Jedley King, because he mentioned rightly so that Jedley had a tough start to his time at Tottenham Hotspur, overlooked by several managers, and but he stayed strong, stayed true, and as Rio Ferdinand correctly said last night, he is the best one-on-one defender in England, and I'd make the argument the best one-on-one defender in the Premier League, or at least in the top 1 or 2. So we've got a real talent on our hands there, and hopefully he can stay happy, stay committed, stay focused, and stay a Tottenham player for a long time to come. Guys, other news, just quickly to run through with you. Real Madrid, this is something we probably were expecting at some point, but not something we were hoping to see. But according to many reports this morning, Xavi Alonso is looking at Micky van der Ven as a potential target. The price for the defender would be obscene. And they reckon somewhere around 94 million dollars, 18 million euros would be the price. I think he's worth a lot more than that, personally. Obviously, he's got his injury issues, but if Real Madrid come calling, it's difficult to keep players focused. However, I would say that Real Madrid have probably got their pick of a couple of players right now. They're obviously highly linked to Ibrahim Konate, who's going into his last year of his contract at Liverpool and is potentially going to sign a pre-contract arrangement in January, which he can do with foreign clubs, not with teams in the Premier League. And of course, there's the other option of trying to also convince Mark Guéhi to join them as well. Imagine if Real Madrid could get Konate and Guéhi into their back line, 2 top draw defenders, all on Bosmans, essentially. I mean, absolutely insane. So I'd be very surprised to see it happening, but I just brought it to your attention. That is the main transfer story of the day, and it's an outgoing one. The big news, though, guys, the big news for today. In fact, sorry, before I come to that one, there's one other story regarding a coaching staff potential departure as well. Postecoglou and Big Ange, or Little Ange, now that he's next to Marinakis, he is obviously going into Nottingham Forest, and he's brought a lot of his ex-Tottenham team with him. Jednak et al. That left the club have gone with him to Forest, which is an interesting new shift from Ange Postecoglou. Has he learned from his prior mistakes regarding not taking anybody with him, because he has to disseminate his style of football, his unique style of football, to a coaching team that he inherits, and then they have to then disseminate to the players. It's just another unnecessary stepping stone towards getting that message embedded. And so this time around, he's taken most of them with him. But of course, Matty Wells is one of the players, or one of the people within the Postecoglou Tottenham setup that stayed and joined Thomas Frank's system. The Telegraph claim that Spurs coach Matt Wells is considered unlikely to follow Postecoglou to the City ground. However, there is strong links this morning saying that Postecoglou would like him to join Mile Jedinak and Nick Montgomery at Forest. It'll be interesting to see whether he goes or not. I'm not too fussed. A lot of people, I don't know too much of what Matty Wells' role is specifically within the Thomas Frank system. I'd be okay with him leaving, to be honest. I think that right now, guys, for what it's worth, there seems to be so much change at Tottenham with regards, the new marketing guy coming in. We know Donna Cullen's left. We know Levy's going. We know Levy's gone. We know Scott Munn has gone. Will it be likely that Johan Lang is going to leave as well? Does it put the breakers and the blinkers on any kind of idea or notion that Fabio Paratici will come back? I would make the argument that it's less likely than ever that Paratici will come back because he was Levy's guy and Levy's no longer here. The relationships that Vinay have or Charrington have with any of these people are new, fresh, and not necessarily ones that they want to continue to have. It could be a slow drip, but essentially an ongoing process of removing everybody that is part of the Levy, the previous ecosystem at Tottenham. And under the Lewises or whoever else is coming in to invest in the future, they might want them to bring their own guys in. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Matty Wells also leave, although that will be a decision that he will have to make with Thomas Frank. You'd hope that Thomas Frank is allowed to just do his own thing and kind of corner that sort of side of the organisation off from everything else that's changing. The chaos that I'm sure is still very much at play in the boardroom, despite Vinay's very calm demeanour saying it's business as usual. I don't buy it for a second. And you know what else, guys, I haven't bought for a second is this notion that the king is dead, long live the king, with regards to the owners. I've said this on multiple podcasts, multiple live streams and separate videos over the last few days, not in an attempt to defend Daniel Levy, not in an attempt to kind of muddy the waters with some sort of viewpoint on ENIC specifically. I don't feel the same as many people that dislike those owners, dislike Daniel Levy. I'm not coming at it from this angle. I'm trying to just figure out exactly what's going on and where the real situation lies, not where the narrative is trying to be pushed. I don't believe that it's business as usual. I don't believe that it's all calm and everything's fine at sea in the boardroom. I don't believe that Daniel Levy would have been okay with the way that it's all shaken up and the feeling that has been put out there by members of the journalist teams at the Times, the Telegraph, Sky, BBC, etc., saying, that this is that the Lewises are coming in and the younger children or the children are coming in and they want to take over and they're generational Tottenham fans and they want what the fans want and they're going to show ambition. And Vinay doubled down on that and saying, I was expecting to work with Daniel for years. It only ended up being a few months. I'm very grateful for what he showed me, but the Lewises are going to back and show the ambition and that we can do everything we need with these guys. All great. It all sounds great. And I think that Daniel Levy has been presented as the sacrificial lamb in the inferences of all of those things, that if there wasn't the ambition until now, it wasn't because of us, it was because of Levy. Don't buy it for a second. The Lewises could have put their hand in their pocket a lot sooner than they have. And one of the stories that's been breaking for the last couple of days is that Tottenham Hotspur are going to have £100 million, circa £100 million injected into the club's transfer kitty in January that wasn't going to be there absent this change. And so everyone is assuming that is coming from the Lewises, that they're going to inject some money. And that may still be true. But if the news that dropped on Bloomberg this morning is what that £100 million narrative is really talking about, then it's nothing like that. And I'm going to show you what I mean right now. So I've read through the Bloomberg article, but because of a paywall, I can't show you. So I'm going to have to bring up this instead, a reference from Tottenham Hotspur News that's got a summary. And it's, as I say, it isn't what I guess people thought it was going to be. If you remember a week ago, there was a change of a company's house that showed there was a financing, like a loan, like a short-term loan financing option that was made available through Macquarie. Well, the details have now emerged on that, and I'm going to show it to you right now. It basically says, I'm just going to read it through for you as we go through it. Tottenham bank £90 million lump sum as new agreement emerges after takeover speculation. This is from Samuel Faber. He says, Tottenham are embroiled in speculation over their future, with many US and Qatari-backed consortiums interested in buying the club. The removal of Levy as executive chairman has plunged Spurs into talks and questions regarding their ownership. Joe Lewis, who was the majority owner of ENIC until 2022, has confirmed that Tottenham are not up for sale. Tottenham are said to be worth $4 billion due to the construction of their state-of-the-art stadium. However, as a result, they need new investments to recoup some of that money that has been spent. Here we go. Bloomberg journalist David Hellier has reported on how this deal will aid Spurs in the near future. Spurs have raised £90 million through a receivables financing deal with Macquarie Group Limited, a big Australian bank. Tottenham agreed to give Macquarie income from future broadcasting rights for a lump sum of cash, with the Australian lender, he's Australian, there you go, also receiving a fee and interest. Macquarie have done this previously with other Premier League clubs, giving Nottingham Forest £28 million loan in 2023. A recent club statement said the recent changes are all part of the club's ambition to ensure that it is set up to deliver long-term sporting success. Significant spending in the transfer market has seen Spurs in desperate need of external investment, something that they will now have achieved. Amanda Staveley among parties interested in purchasing Tottenham. Spurs rejected 2 inquiries over buying the club, which prompted Lewis to say that Tottenham were not for sale. Anyway, forget about that stuff for a minute. Just on that one, we know that Amanda Staveley has walked away saying that her and her PCP Capital, PCP Finance Capital, I think it is, are saying that they had 28 days from September the 8th to announce their intention to form a formal bid or otherwise. She said no. Then on a podcast, she has said that that she will monitor Tottenham and other investments in sport. They're ready to go again. Her and the Reuben brothers and other people that they've worked with are ready to go again. But as far as Tottenham goes, they can't make a new investment they can't make a new formal offer or any formal offer to take over the club in its entirety for at least 6 months. But Tottenham have made it clear, at least on paper, that they're not in any way, shape or form ready right now for a full takeover. There's lots and lots of things to do. Don't forget the Northumberland Park Phase 3 that's going to cost around 500 million quid is still in the works. £100 million needs to be sidelined for the cost of the hotel. That has to be delivered within the next 2 years. There's 2 residential blocks that are part of that development as well, which will cost more money. There's 2 others that are down the road. There's also Whitewebs, the NFL training pitch. All of these things are massive, massive long-term projects that I would imagine that ENIC want to be a part of. And so they don't want to sell the entirety of the football club. I can get on board that. A full takeover in years to come might be necessary. But for now, they want to be a part of that process. They want to be a part of that project. And they would just like some partners to work with. But obviously, therein becomes the difficulty. Is every other person that wants to buy a football club also interested in all those other things? Are the people that are only interested in those other things also interested in a football club? How do you delineate the valuation of each particular part? How do you separate those things out on some sort of statement of interest? It's complex, complicated, and at the levels you're talking about, you are filtering out most people. Although at the same time, if you're talking about the NFL environment, like I said before, if you look at the valuation of the franchises in the NFL, all 32 teams have a higher valuation on paper than Tottenham Hotspur currently does. And only half of those teams have higher revenues than Tottenham currently does. So the idea would be for people that have got that American, sports relationship with the NFL, they can see the size of full franchises and the valuation models, and they could look at Tottenham at $3.5 billion and think they could easily treble their money in years to come if Tottenham also had the London franchise of any NFL team alongside the football and everything else that goes with it. Either way, this 90 million Bloomberg article, it sort of sheds a little bit of light, right? So all that they are doing there is essentially saying, can we please have £90 million up front? We'll pay you a loan fee and interest on the loan, and it's guaranteed against guaranteed future broadcast revenue. So it's not like it's new money coming in from the Lewises. It might look like it's going to inject capital into the football club in January to allow us to go and hopefully sign a Morgan Rogers or an Adam Wharton or whatever the plans are looking like. But it's not. It's robbing Peter to pay Paul. You're just taking money that you're going to have later through the football club that was generated through our sustainability models of what Daniel Levy and the Lewises have built together, but mainly Daniel Levy with his and the team's efforts. That money's coming in anyway. It's just not here necessarily yet. So we're taking a loan up front for it and then paying it back later. So don't be fooled into thinking that this is anything above and beyond what was going to happen anyway, and that there's no additional money coming in yet from the Lewises. But if the budgets are there in January, please don't get the wool pulled over your eyes here and interpret that as some demonstration of ambition or intent. It's literally just borrowing money now against, it's like a payday loan. It's a payday loan of which you're paying interest for. I hope it's not too high interest, but it will be paid back next year or the year after or whenever it will be. But the money is guaranteed against the TV broadcast revenues that are going to come in from Sky and TNT and Setanta and all of those different companies around the world that will be coming into our coffers from this season coming until from September 2025 until May 2026. That's it. So it's not dissimilar to what Barcelona were doing when they were selling off future merchandise revenues or selling areas of their stadium that haven't even been built yet, premium boxes, all of those sorts of things to raise money to get themselves out of short-term holes. It doesn't hold water if there is a suggestion here that is a demonstration of new investment. If that is it, then the Lewises are trying to represent a clean slate, a clean bill of health. The ding-dong, the witch is dead. It wasn't us that was unambitious. It was Daniel Levy. He's the fool guy. We need to go again. We're going to get there. We're going to promise you everything's great under the Lewis children. All that stuff. Put up or shut up. If this is the money that they're talking about, if this is that £100 million injection, it's a load of nonsense. It's just a loan. It's a loan it's a payday loan. That's all it is. If on top of that, they put in their own money, 100 million, 200 million or whatever else, and it will dilute the shares of the minority shareholders, all of that stuff. If that's what's happened, then that's fine. I'll get on board it and I'll give it the credit and the attention that it deserves at the time. But as of right now, the only sign of any kind of new injection of capital coming in is through a Macquarie loan that is already reserved money that's coming into the football club anyway. So I've just got this feeling that there is this attempt to whitewash history here to try to get a clean slate and a blank canvas, and that the Lewises are coming into town for the West Ham game as a sign of demonstration of this is how much it means to us. I'm not convinced by any of this. I'm not convinced by absolutely any of this just yet. And by the way, I am not someone that hated ENIC. I'm not someone that hated Levy like a lot of you did. I've always been of the mindset that they're fine owners. They're fine owners. I don't think that a business should have to be self-funded in order to be to have the idea of success being available to them. However, the world in football has changed. We saw the APT results yesterday with Manchester City, a 1.75 likely billion pound income stream from their APT, their associated party transactions, following a £1 billion Puma kit deal that they signed a couple of weeks ago, or a couple of months ago. The numbers in the game are insane in certain places. And if you don't have owners that have those APT relationships, it's going to be very difficult to keep up. So either get on board the idea that if you can't beat them, join them, and hope that the ENIC and the ENIC system sells to or gets significant investment from a family in the Middle East that has those same sort of opportunities, like the House of Kuwait, Bahrain, Brunei, something like that. And then you can also participate in the relationships with people that have weird relationships with money, where they have more money in the ground than has ever been printed in the history of mankind. And also they have those related parties that they're happy to do their own robbing Peter to pay Paul, or hope that you bring in new owners that can manipulate the rules around PSR and FFP the way that Chelsea have, get on board MCOs. All of those things are the only ways that you're going to really be able to compete at the very top, given that the ridiculous gap that is emerging between the haves and the have-nots. But the ENIC's £100 million, £200 million isn't really going to move the needle, in my opinion. But for now, as I say, the story that's popping around that Tottenham are going to put 100 million quid in, and that's the first demonstration of ambition from these new look ENICs. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it at all. This is Macquarie. It's a loan. It's a payday loan that will come back from the coffers later on. They need a lot more money than that. And for now, I feel that this is all a lot of smoke screens and lipsticks on a pig. Not that I think that the ownership were pigs anyway, but if they're going to sit there and try and pretend like it's a new dawn at Tottenham Hotspur and everything's changing because Charlie and Vivian are now in charge and Daddy Joe is out of the way and so is the bad man Daniel Levy, not for me, not yet. Got to do a lot more to convince me that anything's changing at Tottenham Hotspur. Let me know your thoughts, guys. And I will leave you there. I'll see you later on for a live stream. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always,